Whoa. Whoa. You guys ever seen The Matrix? Okay, another set of triggers can be found around the fountains and the secret shops. They're the indicators for range of shop access. If your hero's root transform is within one of them, you could buy items. Underneath that trigger, there's this one yellow box that says Norwoods or something. But for the life of me, I can't understand what that could possibly mean. And then behind that, wait. Oh my god. Glasses? Bed? Gordon Freeman confirmed for new Dota 2 hero? But the thing that I really wanted to show you in all of Hammer are the final trigger boxes. If you've noticed yet, they're all over where the camps spawn. They are in fact the literal boxes in which the camps spawn. Remember everything that I've taught you so far. It's a lot of information, I know. In part 1, I explained root transformed and trigger boxes. And before I brought that up, we were specifically talking about torrents for some reason, although I don't see how that could be relevant at all. On screen right now, I'm just making a plain and simple box. Just ignore me. In this example, specifically ignore the width or the depth and pay attention to the height. It's the one in blue. For some reason, I don't really know why, I'm setting it to as close to 350 units as I can. But alright, that looks pretty good, right? That's close enough to 350. Now, disregard that. I want to show you a bunch of camps. It's kind of weird, right? They're all really different sizes. I mean, they're all squares. Yeah, they're all four-sided shapes. I mean, technically eight-sided because they're 3D. None are triangles or anything, but some are very wide and not very tall, and some are very long and a lot thinner. Some of them rise miles into the sky, and some barely even get off the ground. It's kind of interesting, I guess. I mean, I don't really know why I'm bringing it up, but remember what I've taught you so far. Remember everything I've brought up. Remember the rant about the Source 2 engine being 3D when Dota really only cares about 2 dimensions. Remember that little random 350 unit high grade box from a second ago. Remember the spell that we were talking about before all of this. And remember how root transform works. Because holy shit, you can stack creep camps using torrent. But only some creep camps. God, it gets confusing. 350 units is the exact height that torrent shoots up any unit into the air. And that is the size of our box here. And remember, if it's forced movement, that root transform moves too. And all units have root transform. And creep camps work in such a way that if any unit's root transform is in that trigger box when a minute hits, the game goes, nope, no new creeps are going to spawn. But if you remove a bunch of units by their root transforms in any direction, creeps do spawn. Yeah, perhaps you've heard of it. It's called creep stacking. It's something that you all do. You can move them left, you can move them right, or in the case of Kunkka, you can move them straight up. This is my favorite type of quirky and insane spell interaction, because while it is nearly indecipherable when you first come across it, with just a minute or two of research, bam, you get exactly what's going on. You know exactly how it's working. And all of this time, I've been showing footage of me comparing my 350 unit high cube to the heights of all of the creep camp trigger boxes. Some are obviously larger, like this medium camp closer to Dire Base, and some are very clearly smaller, like the medium camp next to Radiant Safe Lane Shrine. All in all though, here is a map indicating which camps can and cannot be stacked using Kunkka's torrent. To the laymen and women out there, this is a completely random and arbitrary list. Us elite hackers know why. My favorite and final fun fact about all of this is that Tiny, the hero of all heroes, is the only hero that actually has a root transform that isn't at the bottom of his model. And because, as we can see, every single one of these creep camp trigger boxes goes from bottom to top, like it starts at the ground and then extends upwards an arbitrary amount. Because Tiny's root transform isn't actually on the ground, it's floating a little bit above him, there are specific creep camps that he can stack while standing in them. Because the root transform of his body, even though the rest of his body is in the camp, is floating above the camp. It's it's stupid, and I don't know why they just don't change it. But hey, I'm not complaining. I'd be hard pressed to find a game in which I could say that the tiny thing with the root transform stacking camps, that's what lost me the game, or won me the game, or anything like that. It's the epitome of a fun fact, right? But just before we move on, remember how creep camps are blocked. It is specifically the root transform bone of the model. And remember, All models have that bone. The ones that don't are models that are baked into the map. So, oh god, baking is oh god, do we really want to get into that too? Basically, it's just when something is precompiled. You get a lot with lighting, if you can imagine. In a lot of games, it'd kill your computer if lighting was calculated on the fly, so a lot of engines just allow for you to bake the direction of the light beforehand into the map. Dota does that. That's why when it gets dark, it just gets less bright and turns like a shade of blue. The dynamic shadows don't actually move to indicate a setting sun or anything, because the light direction can't change. Anyway, if any root transform is picked up on inside a creep camp's trigger box, you'll block the spawn. The models and trees that come with the map don't do that, but that's why wards do it, that's why heroes do it, and that's why every single spell that has a 3D model attached to it used to do it. Stifling Dagger, Rocket Flare, Hookshot, Sacred Arrow, every single spell that had a model as part of the particle system accidentally caused the blocking of creep camps, and they patched it out. Oh man. Torrent still works, as well as Invoker's Tornado, Tiny's Toss, and Tidehunter's Ravage. Although I feel like you probably shouldn't be using that to stack creeps. Unfortunately, as carry Kunkka, we never used Torrent anyway, so I guess this whole section was for nothing. Moving on. Tidebringer is the only spell you'll ever need. It has a 13-second cooldown at level 1, a 4-second cooldown at level 4, and a 2.5-second cooldown at level 4 with the level 25 cooldown talent. When it's up, it gives you a 100% cleave damage attack modifier that splashes out from 650 to 1100 range in a cone in front of you, or behind the person that you're hitting. But I mean, technically they're the exact same thing. Here I am indicating the exact shape of it. Poor axe. In addition to that splash, it also gives 25 to 100 extra attack damage. That attack damage isn't boosted by crit or anything. It's just an added bonus at the very end. So let's talk about it, right? Cleave damage is a topic we haven't really delved into much on the only way to play. The big takeaway is that the hero that you attack isn't hit by the cleave. They're hit with just the normal damage. This shouldn't really mean much, especially when cleave damage is exactly 100% of your attack damage, but it's not exactly. Cleave damage has a very, very odd ingredient in that while it is reduced by armor type, it isn't reduced by armor value. Okay. So now I've got to explain this, right? Okay, that was complete gibberish, so I'll elaborate. Armor type is one of either hero, basic, or structure. As you can imagine, heroes have hero, most creeps have basic, and buildings have structure armor. That's why when we're attacking as a hero, or even just as a creep, it feels like it takes so much to deal 1000 damage to a tower, when we can instantly deal 1000 damage to a hero, or a creep. Hero damage, which Kunkka deals, does 100% to hero armor, 100% to basic armor, and 50% to structure armor. For now, that's all we need to get into. Armor values are obviously, just the values of armor. If a hero has 100 armor, cleave ignores that and just deals 100% of that written down damage. So if you have 5000 damage, that axe has 5000 health and 5000 armor, well, you just skip over the armor and you kill the axe. In practice, that means that for efficiency's sake, you should always be swinging Tidebringer on the unit with the lowest armor, because while the cleaved people behind him take the same damage regardless of their armor, that first target's damage is affected by armor. In reality though, Tidebringer should mostly just be used on anything within reaching distance, whereupon you utilize the extreme range of the cleave and basically just become a ranged hero. You have 1100 range. Sniper doesn't have 1100 range. You see that poor axe running away and you're all out of mana and you can't use Torrent or Ghost Ship or X marks the spot and you're out of melee range? Oh, well, just walk over to that there jungle creep and position yourself in such way that you can just whoosh, pop him with it. Oh god, it's shocking to think that we technically started talking about Kunkka's spells that we said we weren't going to talk about all the way back in part 1. Okay, let's quickly wrap it up. We'll talk more about Tidebringer in the next part, and do my favorite type of mathematics. The type where you're calculating how much damage you're about to deal to a poor defenseless support. That'll teach you for trying to help your team. X marks the spot is one of the only spells with which you can desecrate the Dota map. Oh my god, look at that, it's a penis! Look ma, I'm an artist, I'm a street artist, just call me Wanksy. The other spell is of course Batrider's Firefly, but a burning penis probably needs to go get checked at a clinic, so let's not talk about that. X marks the spot, besides ripping awesome double bass tunes, also puts a debuff on a hero and returns them to that original spot regardless of where they go. After at most 4 seconds for enemies and 8 seconds for allies. It's that length no matter what level the spell is. What does change per level is the cast range and cooldown. The former goes from 400 units at level 1 to 1000 at level 4. The latter goes from 26 seconds to 8 seconds. 8 seconds is exactly the time of the ally duration and just double the time for an enemy duration. So yeah, I'm sure that's fair. At any time, Kunkka can manually cast Return, a sub-spell of X marks the spot, and prematurely bring that hero back. You can imagine why that'd be important considering your two very, very delayed AoE ground-targeted nukes. It can't be broken by blinks, or by anything really. I don't think there is an actual spell that breaks being brought back. Other than death, the one thing that you can counter is the exact point in which you're pulled back. Imagine it like you can counter X marks the spot being cast on you with Lincoln's or Lotus or anything like that. You can cancel Return being cast on you, but you cannot remove the debuff in between those two spells. So right, think of it like this. The only thing that'd save you is doing something to prevent the Return proccing. You can either A, become immune to spells either through Yules or Magic Immunity, which you can pick up for anything just above 2,800 gold, or even that you might innately just have in your spell collection, or B, you blink on the exact frame tick X marks the spot would have sent you back when there are 30 ticks per second, and when you would have to account for input lag, internet lag, server lag, and Kunkka at any point prematurely bringing you back. One of these is easier to do than the others. You can find out the hard way which is which if you want.
Collision course.
And finally, Ghost Ship. Ghost Ship is an honestly underappreciated ultimate. It's also a terrible horror movie that for some reason Carl Urban is in? What are you doing, Carl? Get out of there. Go do something else. Oh no, Carl Urban, not there! But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Ghost Ship is a ground-targeted spell that on cast causes a ship to crash into that point. The cast animation is 0.3 seconds, and the delay is 2.8 seconds. All up, it takes a ship 3.1 seconds between you clicking and the ship landing. 3.1 seconds. It almost slots in perfectly after Torrent's delay and stun duration. That is 3.6 seconds. And X marks the spot is 4 seconds. Wait, what? Wait, add that all up. What the hell? So all up, you can pretty much guarantee an over 7-second series of stuns on one person? Yikes. If you lead with X marks the spot, another X marks the spot is already off of cooldown by the time you're all finished. Oh my god. Right before that though, Ghost Ship's cast range is 1000, its damage and stun radius is 425, and its impact damage is 400 in an AoE at level 1, and then 600 at level 3. I mean, like, oh well, it's probably just got a huge cooldown to justify it having so much. 60 seconds at level 1, all the way down to 40 seconds at level 3. Oh god, wow. So, wait, what? Why don't people spam this all of the time? Oh my god. You remember watching OpenAI and then seeing that bot of a sniper all of a sudden just assassinate a creep, and everyone was laughing at him because it's like, ha ha ha, you wasted assassinate on a creep, and then you realize that assassinate has like a 5-second cooldown, and it's like, if a bot is doing that after being touted as this extremely intelligent mind, maybe there's some credence to constantly using ults that you normally wouldn't use on creeps, and then using them on creeps. I mean, right? What I'm saying is farm lanes with Ghost Ship. Chuck it out on a whim. Use it like Punch Hook. Just constantly spam it and give it a go. There's really no punishment for missing other than, I guess, sideways looks from your teammates, but who cares about them? They give you that look for everything that you do. And even if you do miss, there's even one more perk. Ghost Ship, while being a great spell if you land it, is also a potentially greater spell if you miss it. Wait, what? Oh yeah, it turns out regardless of who it hits, if during that journey it passes over you or any allies, you guys are coated with the Admiral's Rum. What the rum does is give you a 10% movement speed, a 50% damage reduction, and all with a 10-second duration, followed by another 10-second hangover duration. Hangover? Hang on, what? Yeah, okay, so when I said 50% damage reduction, what I mean is that after the 10-second buff, the next 10 seconds slowly deals that reduced damage from earlier on you, 5% every 1 second. So all up, you take 100% damage just over the course of a lot longer, right? You'd think that's horrible, except it isn't ever lethal. It'll never kill you. You could take 1 billion damage, have 500,000 health. You could take 1 billion damage, have 500 million health, and still come away from the fight on 1 HP. Wait, so returning home on what feels like 1 HP. Yeah, in retrospect, that does sound like a hangover, alright. Now I get the name.